You got a lot of Dallas Allen stock in your portfolio.
Tons of it.
A lot of it. Hey, welcome back to Fade the Mahoney, everybody. This is our Week 12 preview. We've got the Mallards playing the Eagles, and we're joined by none other than Dallas Allen. Dallas, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
This has been a little difficult to schedule. I've been traveling. You play a lot of baseball. Trevor coaches a lot of baseball. So I'm glad you could join us. We are hot on the heels of that scintillating Magic Predators series that just happened.
Oh, yeah. That did just happen, right? I remember that.
It was great with all the pitching and the hitting. It was very, very exciting. Trevor, you've got questions. Go for it.
Oh, you just hit me with the question.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to say that I am very tired right now because we just finished up 8 games in 8 days with our 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, and it was exhausting. And I wish I had more baseball, but that's fine.
So your season is done. You're done coaching, so you can focus more on Major League Wiffle Ball.
Except for we're going over the baseball fields in about an hour right now to watch another baseball game. So it's just all around us. But yes, let's talk about some Major League Wiffle Ball. So let's see, where do we want to start with this series? Where do we want to start with Dallas? I mean, first of all, I guess
you wanted me to remind you that
yes,
when
I remember
we
that.
To Dallas. So you want to start with that? That's a good.
Sure. Let's start there. So we saw with Tommy Coughlin with his baseball career. He took his time off of wiffle ball because of the effect it was having on his swing. How have you felt wiffle ball has affected your baseball swing, and how's that going?
So I don't really know if it affects it or not, but when I have wiffle ball series, I mean, we always take BP before the games, and then the games happen. Then after the game, before I have another baseball tournament, I'll make sure to get to the batting cages and get like a couple good rounds in, just to get the baseball swing back in case it does mess with it. I don't think it does, but I mean, it's a little different, but I'm not really sure. But I just make sure I get to the batting cages before a baseball tournament or a game.
Okay. And when you're so much better than everybody else that you're playing against, it probably doesn't matter, right?
There's some good players out there. I'll say that. There's some great prospects out there. So.
There are some good ones, and then there are some great ones, right?
I mean, I would say I'm middle of the pack. I'm doing my best.
Dallas, you have to be the nicest person we've ever had on the show. You're supposed to toot your own horn. Speaking of tooting your own horn, I have 6 jerseys now. I don't have a Dallas Allen jersey. Why is that? Kyle, where is the Dallas Allen jersey? I went to go buy it and it's not there. Can we do something about this, Kyle? Tommy, who's ever in charge?
Custom jersey.
I suppose I could do the Moxie.
Unfortunately, the Eagles jerseys, you cannot have the name on the back. So that's another factor.
Really? Learning.
Yeah, a couple of jerseys you can, a couple of them you can't. So
can you remind me, were your guys' button downs or pullovers?
Pullovers.
Okay. All right.
But they had pin stripes on them, so that's what made them really, really cool.
All right. Well, hopefully before the next time the 3 of us get together and talk, I assume maybe sometime in the playoffs we can get back together. We'll have the whole jersey fiasco remedied. I'll do what I can. We just lost Allen. Dallas.
1 second.
That's okay. Trevor, you ready? You ready with the spread?
Yeah. I was really interested to hear the wiffle ball versus baseball thing because I saw it with my kids this week. They're only 6, 7, and 8, obviously, but first of all, Andrew, my son, wants to be a pro wiffle ball player, and he swings the wiffle ball bat 500 times a day, and then he gets out and he's got a wiffle ball swing and a baseball swing, and he knows the difference between the two, which is good for a young kid. But most of my other kids, like they had a wiffle ball tournament yesterday, and then they had a game last night, and they couldn't even swing the bat. It was awful. That's why I was interested to hear that. It's good perspective. Get them in the cages.
Yeah, big thing. I just say get to the cages, get a couple rounds in, and then you'll be good.
So before I set the line, what's it like for you going against Jordan Robles. So you excited about that? Have you watched film on him? What's your preparation to go into a contest with him?
Jordan is. I went to the Mallards D-back series. I was watching with Dan. He's legit. He's been playing wiffle ball longer than I've been alive. So he's legit. Awesome. His pitching is awesome. He saw Norp the best. I don't know how. I mean, Norp literally could not do anything against him. He was talking to us, and he was like, "I don't have anything. I can't pitch to him." So Jordan is legit. I'm really excited to play against him.
We're combined 10-2, right? Both teams are 5-1. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Trevor, in your storied historical mind, has there ever been this good of a winning percentage between two teams this late in the season? It's pretty remarkable.
I'm sure there has. I had to look back and see, but I'm sure there has. But I mean, I don't think two teams that have been this hot and this good matching up at this point in the season. It's a pretty interesting dynamic, and it makes for an interesting line setting situation for me. So we can get into that if you'd like right now.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So I have the Mallards. I think it's impossible to not have the Mallards be favorites in series going forward. I think I made that mistake in the previous series. I think when you have Jordan Robles out there and you see what he can do, I think they have to be the favorite. And I think I'm going to put them as a slight favorite at -130.
Okay. -130 on the Mallards. Take back on Dallas Allen's Eagles would be +110. Got that written down.
And, I think the current concerns, obviously, that you have with the Eagles is like, okay, who have they played so far? That's what you'd probably say is like, they beat them. What were the two teams they played? I can't even think right now. Magic, right?
Magic, Gators. Magic and
Gators, yeah. Right, who could be considered the two worst teams in the league right now. So, whereas, the Mallards obviously took care of the Diamondbacks in the last series. And so that's kind of how you have to line it, I think. The concerns obviously for the Eagles would be can they hit Jordan in two games, and obviously from the other side, the Mallards they're going to have to get to Dallas and have to get to Daniel. What do you guys talked about your strategy as far as pitching goes? Are you guys going to just take it as it comes or what?
It's literally like that. It's just normally we're going to try and rotate games 1 and 2 unless I don't know who the game 1 pitcher is. We're going to talk about that probably tomorrow, like pregame wise. But if they're really hot, then we're just gonna keep them going, just because they're feeling the ball. Like sometimes in game 2 it gets beaten up a lot, but sometimes it stays if it's like a 1-0 game in 3 innings. So the ball could stay the same and the pitcher could still like it. So they would just roll with game 2, but it's basically how game 1 the pitcher is doing for me and Dan.
Do you guys not know who's pitching game 1 as of yet?
I don't. I'm sure Dan does, but I'm not sure.
Okay. As a reminder, how many games have you pitched so far this year, Dallas?
I've pitched 3.
3 games. And in those 3 games, how many hits have you given up?
I've given up no hits.
No hits.
It's pretty good.
I think maybe you should start game 1. That's just me. What do I know?
Pretty much what you just said there is what a few weeks ago we saw the Cobras do with Baranowski. That first game, he just shut them down completely. The ball wasn't really hit around that much, and he could have the same grip on the ball and then just went back out there and kept mowing them down. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good game plan. I think that's a game plan you're seeing a lot of the teams implement now. Now that pretty much every team has 2 really good pitchers, that's pretty much the direction that they've gone.
You're talking.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
You're talking about a month ago against the Magic. Is that the series
you're talking about? That's what I said a few weeks ago.
Yeah. That Magic team, man, they cannot hit. They just can't hit.
No, it's been rough. It's been rough for the Magic. Not good to be a Magic fan right now.
If we make it out to Midwest Slugfest, I hope we play against them.
That's great. All right, and then for the over/under. Okay, so we got 2 really good pitching teams, right? But we also have 2 good hitting teams. I think what you've seen this year from the Eagles is their ability to get on base, which has been great. They've been able to see the ball really well. Landon's been a good bump with contact hitting, a good approach to the plate. The Mallards are not going to make as much mistakes as the other 2 teams have, I think. So I think this is one series where I don't expect there to be a ton of runs. I think there'll be some timely hits, some timely home runs. So the way I lined this was at 15.5.
Ooh, you went way higher than I thought you would. 15.
I was gonna go 14.5, but then I just last second I bumped it up because I just pictured Dallas and Daniel going back to back for some reason. I don't know. It just happened, just popped in my head. So
Okay. Dallas, we all know you are not of the correct age to wager legally as of yet, but
I am not.
based upon what Trevor just said right there, if you could bet on this game with a series total of 15.5, where would you put your money?
I would take the over on 15.5, just because Jordan can't pitch 3 games. So whoever the number, I don't know if Caden's going to be back, because Caden's definitely improved, I'm sure, over the year. But I would take the over on that, because Jordan's Jordan. He's likely going to get hits, and Tommy's hot. And if that third Mallard can come around there, I think there's going to be runs scored in this series.
This is difficult for me because usually I just go against, and also you are so darn confident. But if you remember, approximately a month ago, I went against Jason Chadwick, who confidently said take the under on a very large number that you put out there. And I lost that one. All right, $100, Trevor. I will go with our guest. He seems too young to be a complete Mahoney yet. I will take the over. I'm going to go
that's great.
over 15.5. So we got
That's
$100
great.
on that. All right.
So Dallas, what's it been like for you being in the league after, I saw you in the videos when you're at the tournaments and stuff like that, and you kind of grow up around these guys, but knowing that they're in the league, and now you get to be part of the league and part of and not only part of the league, like historically significant as far as your performance. How's that been for you?
It was so awesome. It all started in 2018 when I was talking to my parents, and MLW had their first wiffle in the mitten, and they seemed so shocked that I wanted to go play a wiffle ball tournament. And looking back now, 3 years later, I'm playing in one of the coolest wiffle ball leagues in America. So it's been awesome. All the guys are really cool, especially when you go to the slug. If you guys get out to the slugfest, and you can meet everybody. Everybody's so cool. You can talk to anybody. They'll make conversation with you, and it's just been really awesome.
Nice.
He's so likable, Trevor, and I have to go first in ladders.
Oh yeah,
in our ladder bet.
Yes, you do. That's why I put it on you. I said you have to go first because I can't. You put me in the worst situation. I'm the worst at the ladders, obviously, and also you put me in the worst situation possible.
Yeah, so. You are very, very bad at it. It's hard to quantify how many of those you've won and I've won at this point.
Yeah,
it's always hard to quantify. All right, I'll take Jordan Robles.
All right. Well, I'll take Dallas. Let's go, Dallas. Do it for me, bud.
All right.
All right. So that's for another $100 that I'm probably. No, I'm not going to lose. I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
Yeah. I felt bad for you for how badly I've been beating you over all these months. So I'll let you have the guest. I'll take the out of town interloper.
Hey, at least all the markets are crushing, right?
Yeah. We need. I mean, my takeaway from this, the number one most important thing from our discussion here is we need to get Dallas Allen a jersey that's purchasable, right?
Yes.
We all agree
definitely.
with that? Yeah. Right. Just want to reiterate that. I'll probably mention it 2 or 3 more times. All right. Dallas can't bet, but Dallas likes to do some fantasy football and whatnot. All the other sports are done now. We do have football coming up. Dallas, if you had the first pick in fantasy football this year in a regular old snake, boring draft, not auction, auctions are better. But if you just had the regular old snake draft number 1 pick, who is it this year?
Jonathan Taylor would be my number 1 pick. He exploded last year, and I think running backs are the most key thing in fantasy football, so that's who I would take.
Okay. Wisconsin boy.
There you go.
There we go. What other questions you got for us, Trevor? You're better than I am.
Yeah. I have a question. So it would be, which is a bigger jump to your adrenaline, to your like a bigger thrill to you? Maybe like a perfect game in wiffle ball or hitting a grand slam in baseball?
I don't know. I did hit a grand slam a couple weekends ago, so that was a great feeling. But throwing a perfect game in wiffle ball would be pretty historic. Especially you don't see it very often in MLW, just because there's normally a walk or two. Like Barron a couple weekends ago had a no hitter with only 2 walks. So like sometimes you're gonna get walks in there, but a perfect game would be really cool to throw in the league.
In that series a month ago or so, did he throw back-to-back no hitters as well?
He did. Yeah.
Mhm.
You really
Magic's first hit was Jordan Curdy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
3.
That's right.
Yeah.
You started a whole crap storm with that Jordan Curdy and Trevor Bonham trade talk. I don't know if you're aware, Trevor, but Instagram.
I know, I'm aware. I love it. It's great.
It's good. You really started something with the back-to-back no hitters. There's been ever since you did the 3 in a row. You're currently sitting on 3 in a row. There's been some really good pitching performances.
Cratch did it.
Yep, Cratch did it, and then Baranowski did back-to-back. All right, so man, I wish I knew for sure if Curdy was, or not Curdy, if Irwin. Do you know if Irwin's playing tomorrow? Caden Irwin?
I'm not sure. I think he said he should be good, but don't quote me on that because I am not sure.
Yeah, I heard that'll be there.
Okay.
They need my ear to the ground.
They need a third bat, right?
Definitely. That's been their biggest weakness for sure. I mean, that's something we talked about after their first series. And I was tracking, I think we tracked through both of their series, the performance of Ben Wilson and Davenport, and it was pretty paltry. So if they can get Caden in there and get some hits from him, that's going to be a big boost to them also. And I think the Eagles, they know what they have. They have their 4-man lineup that produces, and I assume hopefully they'll all be there, and that's what they're doing. And eventually down the road they'll get Blade back. So
actually something about Blade. Blade is like 50%. He might play in that series against the Mallards tomorrow. He has a chance. He's actually come over to my house here later, and he's going to see if he can take BP and if he can swing. Because his labrum, his swing is off. Everything's I don't know if it's fully here. He's still going through physical therapy, but he might be back for the series. So,
breaking news, Trevor.
I love it. This is what we're here for.
Change the numbers at all?
I don't think so. I think it's still gonna. I mean, obviously Blade is a good player and was a big boost to them in that first series, but you don't know. Obviously, you have no idea what you're going to get from him with just coming off an injury and off a surgery and everything. So I don't think you can adjust the numbers anything from there.
Okay, he's also very valuable on the mic'd up segment.
Agreed.
Yes,
he's really good at that.
Do you guys play baseball together too? Is he a baseball player too?
Yeah, he was supposed to be our ace for our travel team, and then he tore his labrum. So yeah, so he was out. He's out for the season. But yeah, he does play with me.
All right. We previewed the series. We got a couple of bets in. Again, I'm on the over 15.5 for the total. Trevor, you didn't give your pick on the series, so you should do that.
Ooh. Yeah, I would if I had to put some money down, I would probably ride with the Mallards at -130. I think it's tough though, because my thought is that I said this a couple of weeks ago as well, is that the Mallards are this year's Diamondbacks, where the public is going to be very behind them. They're like the sweetheart team of the nation now, because they have Robles, and it's like everybody's getting on the bandwagon because they can see like that he's amazing and that they're going to be really good. And Tommy's resurgence, you got all that stuff. I still think, I like the Eagles a lot. I've always been an Eagles fan as well, so it's kind of hard for me to say, but I think the Mallards win 2 out of 3 in very close fashion, maybe an extra inning game in there. And yeah, I think it's going to be super close. But yeah, I think the Mallards win the series. If you're going betting wise, you might just take the 110 with the Eagles. So I'm kind of hedging myself here and just saying, I don't know. The line's good is what I'm saying.
All right. Are you interested in a bonus $100 bet? We won't even do any juice. I'll give you the free juice. I'll take the Dallas Allen led Eagles to win the series.
Sure. Perfect. Let's do it.
All right. So we got 3 bets. I got the Eagles to win 2 or 3 or better. I've got Robles on the ladders bet, and I've got the over 15.5. I can't imagine I could possibly get swept in those 3, right?
Nope.
It would be nearly impossible.
Okay.
why don't, before we wrap up, I know you've been sitting there waiting the whole time, Trevor. How did you know in the preview? How did you know?
How did I know that Dallas was going to be amazing?
Yeah. As we saw from the lead in with the all the stock you've got in it. How did you know? What did you see last year?
I saw that the talent was there, and I thought, especially when you're a younger guy. So this is the reason I need to talk about the Preds a little bit, and when I talk about this actually, because the reason I was down on the Preds was because they didn't have any younger guys and I didn't think that they would care to put the work in to like really, and I was wrong, completely wrong. Like Crouch said in the episode a couple weeks ago that they were putting in work, they're putting in work constantly, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. So with somebody like Dallas and with the other younger Eagles, I just figured they're like hungry, they're thirsty. They're going to put in the work. They're going to work to get better. They're going to develop new pitches, all that stuff, and to stay ahead of the game and everything, or to catch up to the guys that have been in the league for a long time. So that's kind of what I saw. I saw the talent there, and it just felt like he was a prime breakout kind of. And it's not like I was alone in that. There was a lot of people who felt the same way. But yeah, and that's where I was completely wrong on the Preds, which I'm sure we'll talk about in other episodes. I'm sure we talked about in other episodes since this one.
We sure did.
Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought.
Time is weird, right? It's weird how time works.
This MLW season, the way they put it together, it's challenging for some of us. Man, I had a question that I just lost, and now I feel like I have to edit out me being an idiot. You have anything else, Trevor? God, I had something. And then the Cratch Predators talk when you had to eat humble pie when we talked to him.
Yeah. I guess that to that point, what kind of work did you do in the offseason, Dallas, or what kind of work do you do during the season?
So after the offseason, I mean, in the NLDS could not hit off for Cheatham. So I watched a couple videos back looking at whatever every guy threw, and then I'd say once or twice every week I would go out and throw like a 30-40 pitch wiffle ball bullpen. Literally, I would just work on each pitch and try and get location down, speed down, because I have a pocket radar myself, and I'd set it behind with a bow net, and I would try and adjust to that speed from the exact same distance. So that really helped getting the speed down, because I sit around like with my drop, my riser, my slider, every pitch I throw, I sit around like maybe like 68 to 71, I'd say. And then obviously the off-speed pitches will be slower. But yeah, I worked a lot of pitching in the offseason, especially accuracy was the big thing. Walks was a big bad thing I had in 2021. So I'm really working on hitting the zone. It was a big thing.
And you've done it this year so far, so that's good to see.
I remember the question I had. Maybe I'm wrong, but Trevor, when we talked in the preview about potential expansion teams going forward, did you mention Dallas as perhaps moving off and taking a team? Isn't that what
so my thought was, if the league did expand, it seemed like a natural possibility, given that you have Daniel and Dallas on the same team. It's things that we've seen before from other franchises, where it's like you have two kind of stud pitchers, and one can branch off, and especially with one being a younger guy and having maybe friends that could come in the league as well. That's what I had mentioned. Yeah.
All right. So Dallas, does that interest you? If they were looking to expand and they said, "Here, have a squad"?
I think it's kind of too early to look at that. Like I really love playing with Dan. Like Dan was the one who drafted me. He kind of set me into the league. So it'd be really hard to leave. It'd be really hard to leave the Eagles. I love Zach too. Blade, I've played baseball with all my life. Landon, I met at the tournaments in 2020 and 2021. So I love my Eagle squad, but it would be maybe an interest. Who knows?
After you guys win the championship this year or next year, and then you can start your own franchise.
Yeah, Eastern Eagles World Series.
Maybe that's what it'll take. Maybe that's what it'll take for you to get your own jersey, being on a different team.
Right.
All right.
Have you?
Go ahead.
Have you talked to anybody about us buying a franchise yet? How do we not own an MLW franchise yet?
There's some stuff going on.
I don't know.
I'll see what I can do. The higher ups are kind of difficult to reach, but we're working on it. We'll figure it out. It's working on it. As long as they let us start it, we'll just start with Dallas and Jordan as our first two players.
Yeah. Sure. I don't mind.
No problem.
You can be the third bat, Trevor.
Yeah, I'll be the third bat. Yeah. My son would be way ahead of me on the list. We would draft him way before me.
All right, so we got 3 bets. I got the over in our first ever series bet. I've got the Eagles. I've got Jordan. You've got Dallas in the ladder bet. We're still going strong on our slate 3 ladders team bet that we've got going on. That's really interesting as the slate wraps up. Too close to call. This schedule, man. All right. I covered everything I wanted to cover. You got anything left for me, Trevor?
Nope.
Dallas, you got any crap talk you want to drop towards Robles or Tommy or anybody else on the other team before you get out there in the field? I mean, all the stuff you were saying before we hit recording, that stuff was wild. So if you want to repeat any of it right now, that's perfectly fine.
I'll be okay. I'll stay humble.
All right.
I'm ready for the series tomorrow.
We've had some really big series already, but 5-1 versus 5-1. That's pretty exciting.
Possible preview of the NLCS, right? Could be.
Oh,
let's see.
I think that would be the favorite, right? Yep. All right,
Yep.
That's going to do it for this preview show. Mallards Eagles, week 12, I think. Dallas, this is awesome that you joined us. I'm glad we could make it work, and hopefully playoff time we can stop back in and check in on you. Sound good?
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Good gambling, everybody.